In this video, I create a requested plugin by Ilham29, and he requested, bro, a plugin that can stack items in your inventory up to 99 plus. So we had a little chit chat, and then he said this, can you make a video tutorial? So this one's dedicated to you, Ilham29, and sorry if I butchered your name twice. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen? Today we're making a plugin that can stack items in your inventory up to 99 plus, and it turned out pretty cool, so you might want to stick around. We go over many PHP and PocketMine functions, so if you're a beginner, you'll find this video very useful. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, they're both free, and you can dislike or unsubscribe if you ever change your mind. If you would like me to make a specific plugin in the future, leave your suggestions down in the comment section and I will choose one of the plugins to make a tutorial on. Now, enough chit chat, let's get right into the video. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be doing Ilham29's request, and that is a plugin which stacks over and at 99 plus. And this is quite a cool plugin, especially for beginners. You'll learn a lot, and I go over many things in PHP and PocketMine, so you'll definitely enjoy this. So first things first, get a software that you could code on. I recommend PHP-Storm. It's like the easiest to use in my opinion. But if you don't have access to PHP-Storm, or you're using Android or something, you can use Notepad or Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text. There are a ton out there that you can use, but I prefer PHP-Storm, and I'll actually leave a video link down in the description on how to set it up with PocketMine and everything, so you can follow the video exactly how I do everything. So first things first, we're going to create a standard plugin, and you're going to need DevTools for this plugin folder to actually work, or you could just make it into a for, but then you need DevTools for that too. So we're going to call the plugin StackUp as so. So in here you're going to have two folders. You're going to have a source folder, so let's just go ahead and create that, and another folder called plugin.yml. So let's just go so and call it plugin.yml, and we're going to edit this later. I'm going to change that source, and in here this is where all the big stuff comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the file with PHP-Storm. As you can see, just remove this. Okay. And we have everything ready. So I've already made this plugin just so I can maneuver around everything and show you guys the steps and procedure to everything. So what you want to do, first things first, is write name, colon, and the plugin name, so StackUp. Next you have main, so main, colon, and then this is where the directory of the main file is going to be. So go into your source folder, new folder, and then let's call it Chunky, which is my name, and then another folder which we're going to call StackUp. And then inside the StackUp folder, I mean, you don't really need to make another folder, but it is preferred because if you're going to use the StackUp plugin through another plugin, then it'll come in handy. And then here we're going to have our main file. So I'm just going to go main.php and just remove this. Change. Okay, and as so, we have created a very simple PHP file. And then now we're going to actually go back to our plugin.yml or YAML, whatever you want to call it. So in your main, you're going to type where the main file is located. So you're going to do the directory like inside of the source folder. So we have Chunky, StackUp, and then main.php. So that's exactly what we're going to write. We're going to do Chunky, and we're going to separate each directory with a backward slash, StackUp, and then main as so. Next, we're going to write the API. So I recommend using 3.0.0. Well, that's most likely what you're using if you're using the latest PocketMine release. That's the version I'm using, but I'm pretty sure this would work on other versions if you just change the API. There aren't many different changes. Moving on, we have the version. So I'm just going to set the version to maybe 1.0 or 0.1. It's really up to you. You could do, I don't know, like whatever the hell you want. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I'll just do 1.0 for now. And then the author, which is myself. Again, you can type here whatever you want. Last but not least, we're going to be doing the commands. And the only command we're going to be registering is the extract command. So here you're going to write extract, then hit enter, and then as you can see, it goes like 2 spaces ahead each and every line. It's because commands, and then beneath that there's extract, and then beneath that there's whatever we're going to write. So what we're going to write is description, open up 2 quotation marks, and then go in between them and write what the command description is. So our description is going to be extract your finest stacks into goods, as so. That's pretty simple. And then now we're going to open up the main.php file. We should be done with this file, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Control save, which is that's the main keybind that most programs have. And now we can actually get started. So this is what a normal main file without anything. Of course, we haven't written anything here. This is what it looks like. It's just a basic look. So you write this at the top after PHP. You write declare strict underscore types equals 1. Close that, and then namespace. Namespace is basically where the where this file is located. So it's located in /StackUp. And here the uses, so what files we're going to be using from the PocketMine for in here. And then we're going to call the class. So class and then the file name, and it extends plugin base, implements listener. Listener is basically what we're going to use to create events. So first things first, we have to register events. So we're going to go public function on enable, and this isn't really important, it's just PHP Storm doing its thing. And we'll go ahead and register events. So do $this get server get plugin manager register events, and we'll do $this. $this is basically this file and the main file which it connects to. So since this is the main file, it'll just register the events in this specific file. Next, we're going to create a function for the command. Since this plugin has only one command, we don't need to check if the command name equals the command that we're looking for, which is extract here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get straight to coding the command. So essentially what this plugin is trying to do is when you drop an item and you already have 64 of it in your inventory, that item goes into your inventory, and let's say the max stack for it is 64, it becomes 65, and it can keep on going. In vanilla Minecraft, that obviously isn't possible. This feature would be mostly useful for factions, prisons, and SkyBlock servers, but I'd say mostly prisons and SkyBlock. So what we're going to write in our command here is we're going to do a few things. First things first, we're going to get the item that the sender, which is the player, we're going to get the item that they have in their hand. So we're going to use 2 things here. First, we're going to reach the inventory, so we're going to do $sender get inventory as so. And now we've gotten access to the inventory, and get inventory basically extends this file, which I'm about to show you right now over here. So we basically have access to all these functions now, and just because we got a player's inventory. Next, we're going to use one of these functions here, which is get item in hand. Now I can't find it here, but It's around here somewhere. So we're going to do get item in hand, as so. And now we have gotten the item in hand. So for example, just to test that this works, we can go $sender, send message, and then $item get name. So this is going to send the item's name once we do the command. Let's go test it out. Okay. So now we're online and we're going to go ahead and do /extract. As you can see, it registered with the description that we typed in the plugin.yml. We're going to do /extract as so, and we crashed. Great. Now let's see what the problem is. Return value. Oh, right. So in every command, you're going to have to write return true just at the end. So. And we do this because, as you can see here, the function has to return a bool. A bool or a boolean, it's basically true or false. So it has to either return true or return false. So now we're going to go back online and do /extract. And as you can see, it said error. It messaged us error, which is the item that we have in hand. If we do dirt extract, go back to error, etc. So now we can move on to the next step. So another thing we're going to do is get the item count. So if we do item get count, so now we have the items count. So if we have 1 dirt, then $count will return 1. Another thing I forgot to mention is you're going to have to add these use statements here for command sender and command, and since I'm using PHP Storm, it automatically does that for me. But if you're not using PHP Storm, then you'll have to manually add them yourself. Moving on, we're going to start by doing the form for the command. So what we're going to do is we're going to check if the item that they have in hand, so we'll do get max stack size, which is the function we're going to use. We're going to check if the item that they have in hand is over that. So get max stack size, for example, if we have dirt, it'll return 64. So if I have more than 64, then whatever we write in here will happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a form. So we're going to create a form using the FormAPI library. So go over to pocket.PocketMine-MP.io or Pmmp.io/plugins, and then this will bring you to the releases tab, and here you can search FormAPI as so. Now you can download this as a FAR file, but I recommend that you just go over to the GitHub as so, code, download zip, as so, copy this file, or no, actually my bad, open this file, go to source, and then here is where it gets a bit tricky. You're going to want to copy the file with the author name, which is Joe, and then 5 7s. So then we're going to just copy this, and then we're going to go back to our main folder, plugins, StackUp, and you're going to paste that file here in the nifty chunky file. Obviously a much simpler way of doing this would be just to download the FAR and plop it in your plugins folder, but this is what I do for my cores and stuff rather than adding FAR files. Now that you have FormAPI installed, we're going to register the FormAPI functions. So we're going to go over here, use, and we're going to use SimpleForm, which is one of the 3 forms that you can use with FormAPI. So you write use and then the author name, FormAPI/FormAPI/SimpleForm. Now we're going to create a SimpleForm. So we're going to go $form equals new, which means that we're calling a new class. And we'll do SimpleForm as so. And then function player, which is PocketMine/player. Right here, you're going to have to register that into, and then let's just define it as $player. And let's just define it as $sender, just so we don't run into any errors. And then curly bracket as so. And after the curly bracket, we're going to have a normal bracket and a semicolon to end this entirely new function off. Oh, my bad everyone, I accidentally added an extra bracket here, so just remove that, since the function it's already called here. So this is the opening bracket, as you can see highlighted in yellow, ends here, so whatever is in between here is what we're going to have. Alongside the sender, we're going to register in the data, which I will let you know what we can use this data for down below here. So first things first, we are going to do a few things below the form. Now this is outside the form function. So we're going to go ahead and set a title for this form. So you could honestly call this whatever you want. I'll just call it for now StackUp form. And then if you want to add some color to it, you could use section signs, but I prefer this way. So you do text format, which is basically this folder that you could use for certain colors. So if you do text format and then 2 colons, and let's say we want it in bold, as so we'll do bold and then text format. As you can see, there are all these colors that you could choose from over here. So we're going to go ahead and do green for now, green, as so. And then a dot. This dot basically separates each and every statement in a string, or honestly anything, but it's mostly used for strings. Next, we're going to do set content. This is basically the text that's going to be in the form. So set content, again, you can type here whatever you want. We could do, we're going to inform the player how much of the item that they have in their hand, how much they have of it. So we're going to go text format and then green again, dot, and then you say, and then we'll type you have, and then $count. Oh, my bad. And then let's do the item name next, just so they know what item they have and how much of it they have, which is the count. So we'll do $count x $item get name, for example, as so, and have a full stop at the end. After you've done that, we're going to add a button. Now this is actually necessary, and we're going to add 2 buttons, in fact, with one for going back and one for extracting all the items you have in your hand. So for the first button, we're going to type in extract evenly. This is basically going to extract everything you have into your hand into even stacks. So let's do, we'll add bold into, so we'll do over here text format bold dot green, and then we'll go here and do, and type maybe extract evenly in caps, as so. And if we can actually write something beneath the button, which is pretty cool. So we're going to reset, as so, to reset the text, and go again with colors, let's say gray, for example, because that one look nice. So as a description to this button, maybe let's say extract and then the item name, so $item get name, as so, 2 brackets around it, extract blah blah blah, which is the item name, and then into stacks, for example, full stop. And then for the second button, we could just do text format, let's do bold, and then text format, and then red, as so, and let's just do close to close the form. Beneath all that, we're going to simply send this form using the send to player function. We're going to go $form send to player, and then $player, as so. That's using FormAPI. This is all using FormAPI. It's very basic. I strongly recommend it, and it's very easy to learn. Next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to check if the person just exited out or if they've actually clicked any of these buttons. So we're going to do if $data, equals null, or you could use the isNull function. I strongly recommend it. Oh, no, not like that, definitely not like that. IsNull, you could just do that, then it will return. Return means it'll basically just, if nothing happens, it'll just leave it there, and the form will close. Otherwise though, if that doesn't happen, like return, basically like none of the code below will run. It just stops the function there. Otherwise though, if that doesn't happen, then we're going to use a switch function for the data. Now, the data basically, this is how most things work with numbers in most languages. So if I click on the first button here, the data will be registered as 1. If I mean 0, sorry. And if I click on the second button, it'll be registered as 1, and then the third button as 2, etc. So this can get a bit confusing, but just remember that it always starts at 0 with arrays and mostly everything. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a switch function to see what $data equals. And then we're going to write here case. So if the case is 0, which means if it's the first button, then we're going to use another function called break. This was going to, it's similar to return, but just for this, but just for the switch function, but it will continue running the rest of the code, which is good. So if you click on extract evenly, then we're going to type the code in here later. If not though, if you click on close, then absolutely nothing will happen. It'll just break, which closes the button. So for the extract evenly button, we're just going to go ahead and do $this extract item, and this is a new function that we're about to create down here. $this extract item, and we need to give information to this function. So we're going to send the player, and might as well send the item. Thing is that you cannot use any of the called variables up here. You cannot use them in a new function, such as this form function over here. So the way we can actually bypass this is by using use as so, and open up two brackets, and then write whatever variable you want to use in here. So we're going to use the $item variable as so. So now here we could use $item. We could honestly we could extend however we'd like. So I don't know, $args, $label, whatever you want. We're just going to be using $item, and we're going to extend this here and do $item for our function, because that'll make things much easier for us. And down here we're going to create the functions. We're going to go public function extract item, and since the sender, we're going to check that it's an instance of a player, so we'll do player as so, then $sender. Oh, and I actually just realized something. This is supposed to be $sender and not $player. That's my bad. And we're also going to do something else. We're going to since we registered 2 arguments here, we have to have 2 arguments in the function as well, or else an error would come up. So we have the sender and the item. Now the item, we're going to check if it's an instance or extends the file item, I guess. So we're going to do $item. And now we have to actually register this in our uses. So I'm going to use PHP Storm to import class. And if you don't have PHP Storm, just type this in next to all your other uses. So use PocketMine/item/item as so. And then we're going to now we're going to write the extract item function. So another thing I actually forgot to mention is if the player does not have the max stack size. So if you have beneath, say for dirt 64, if you have 63 or something, then it should not open up this API or this UI user interface, and it will send a message. So $sender send message. In here we can type you do not have an extractable item, as so. And let's just have it in red, so text format red, as so. And here we're going to do something quite interesting. We're going to return false since it was an error, and I mean, even it doesn't really matter, but I prefer to do that in case you're going to be running any code beneath that. But for this case, it doesn't really matter, it's optional. So for the extract item function, this is going to require a bit of math. So for the extract item function, this is going to require a bit of math. So we're going to do $sender. Oh no, my bad. We're going to make a variable $inventory, and we're going to get the inventory by $sender get inventory, since it's an instance of player. And there we go, it's just called the inventory. Now we're going to do a few things. We're going to get the item count again, so we can just do $count equals $item get count, and we'll also do the max stack size, which we're going to need for the math here. So we'll do $max equals $item get max stack size, as so. Next, we're going to create quite an interesting loop, and we're going to do this to see if the player has any slots freed up in their inventory to extract the item, and if they don't, then it'll send a message saying that they don't have enough slots. So this is going to require a loop to check all the slots in a player's inventory, and some math, which we'll get to later. So first things first, we're going to create this, and we'll just call this $slots, and that's how many free slots you have in your inventory. So then we're going to create a loop, so we're going to go as so. So a player's inventory has roughly 36 slots, yeah, 4 rows, 9 slots on each one, so 36 slots. So what we're going to do here is make a new variable that is going to be $x equals 0, and we're going to use $x for this loop. So when does this loop end, which is what we're going to type here next. Also make sure you have the semicolon over here. So the loop ends when $x is less than or equal than 35. Why 35? Because 35, since the slots, they start at 0 and your inventory slots also start at 0. So your inventory slots, they kind of, I'll actually show an example here. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and not 9. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 0, 1, 2, 3. And once you've done that, after every loop, you're going to have actually another function, and that is going to be $x plus plus. Meaning every time the loop loops, I guess you could say, x gets bigger. And we're going to use x in a second here. I'll show you all how. We're going to check if the slot, which is x, we're going to suppose x is the slot, if it equals air, meaning nothing, of course. So like my whole inventory here, it's air. We're going to check, so I have like 36 free slots. If I get one dirt, now I have 35 free slots, etc. So we're going to go ahead and get the player's inventory. So if $inventory, and then we're going to use a function called getItem, where we can basically get an item at a certain slot, and the slot, as we said before, is going to be $x. So we're going to check if this item equals, or actually we're going to get its ID. Each item has an ID, of course, in Minecraft, in and out. So we'll do get ID, and we'll check if it equals air's ID, which is 0. You could do item air, or you could do 0. As you can see, PHP Storm's actually showing me, it says air equals 0 here. So if it doesn't equal 0, oh my bad, I I shouldn't have put that exclamation mark. So if it does equal 0, then the slots which we registered here, which equals 0, they're going to go up. So we're going to check if the slots are more than the stack size divided by the count. So we're going to check if the highest amount of slots is the same as the amount of slots it takes for the count divided by the max stack size. I know it might sound complicated at first, but it'll get simpler, and you'll understand as we keep on going. So our first mathematical function is actually quite simple. You could name this function whatever you want. I'll just call it math, because why not? And we're going to do $count, which we know is already bigger than the max stack size since we checked up here, and we know it's bigger. We're going to check if it is more. Okay, so we're going to divide this count by the stack size. So you use a slash to divide in PHP, and an asterisk to multiply, plus sign to add, hyphen to subtract. Pretty basic. Then we're going to use a function that you could use for integers, and this is the seal function. Basically this rounds this number math up, the $math, or $math, it is a number, which we know for a fact because it's division, the number divided by number, or integer divided by integer. So we're going to seal $math. It's going to round all the way up. We don't want it to randomly round because it might round down and give us the wrong number. So for example, if we needed 5 slots and we only had 4.1, then obviously there would be a problem there, and one of your stacks just went. So we're going to check if the seal, so let's say we have 2 free slots, and we have 129 blocks, which is 2 stacks and 1 block of dirt, let's say. So we're going to check if, obviously if we didn't use the seal function, it would round down to 2, but we need 3 slots, so we're going to check if the highest thing, so seal, now it's going to round up to 3, we're going to check if that's more than the amount of slots. And since it is more than the amount of slots, that means that your inventory, you don't have enough space in there. So we're going to create another mathematical function, and that is going to be seal $math minus $slots, since we know that seal $math is bigger and we need more slots. So why are we creating this variable? To send the player a certain message. So we're going to say $player send message. Let's do text format in red, and then we can say your inventory does not have enough space to extract that many items, and then say free up, and then the math function, we're actually going to go ahead and use it again. So free up $math, more slots to extract all your items, and that's going to be that. But if these slots are bigger, then it's going to successfully extract. Now how are we going to extract this item exactly? Well, simply we're just going to remove the item from the player's inventory and re-add it. So we're going to go ahead, $sender, get inventory, and then as you can see, we have a ton of functions. We have add item and remove item. So we're going to go ahead and remove item first. And since we already have the item up here, we're going to remove item, $item, and then re-add the item. So $sender, get inventory, add item, $item. And we want to send a fancy message alongside it. So we'll do text format, green, and then a dot, and then say you have successfully extracted, let's see, you've successfully extracted, and then we'll do a certain count, so Oh, my bad, shouldn't be inside the string. I mean, you can use it inside the string, but it's not preferred. It can get confusing, so we'll do, you have successfully extracted $count X, and then let's do the item's name, for example, just to make it look a bit fancy. And then we're going to do something we're going to go all out here, and we're going to actually write how many stacks you split the count into. So we're going to call this math function here again, and not this one, because this one's in a separate if statement. It's not in the else statement. So when we do $math, it's going to call this one. So we'll do into dot, and oh, also, just so you don't get an absurd amount of decimals, we're going to use number format. This basically cleans up the decimals a bit. So number format, $math in between, and don't forget the brackets around, and another bracket in the end. And also, I forgot, just to finish the sentence, we'll do dot stacks and then another dot in a new string. So that should be that. Last but not least, we're going to actually register 2 events, and those events are interaction and picking up an item. So for interaction, we'll just call the function on interact. You can call it whatever you want, and you make a function as so. It's a basic function. But in these brackets, we're actually going to have the event. So PlayerInteractEvent, which I'll show you. This is the use for it. So don't forget this, it's very important, or else you run into an error. So then we're going to say we're just going to call the variable, which is PlayerInteractEvent. We'll call it $event, okay? So now we're going to do something quite interesting. We're going to get the player that interacted, supposedly, by the event. So we'll do $event get player. And there we go. We have simply gotten the player. Next, we're going to get the item. So you want to do $item equals, and we could just see the item that the person interacted with, the item that was in their hand. So you could do $event get item, or $player get inventory get item in hand. But I prefer $item or $event get item. That's most likely going to be more accurate. Last but not least, we're going to call the count of the item. So $item get count as so. And we're going to check if the item that the person has in their hand, if it is extractable, and if it is extractable, then it'll tell them how much of it they have. Because if you have more than 99, it'll just say 99 plus, but you don't actually know how much exactly you have. But with $item get count, it shows the exact number. So what we're going to do is the same function we did up here. So we could actually copy this as so. So if $item get max stack size $count, if $count is more, basically. This sign this sign is for more, and this side is for so greater and less, I guess. So which is bigger, which is smaller, basically. So here we're going to just send, rather than sending a message that's going to spam all the time, we'll send a pop-up. This is basically this small message above your HUD, which can come in quite handy. So we're just going to say, let's add some color. So text format, we'll do green, and then stack count as so. Or no, actually let's do dark green. Dark green as so, and then stack count, and since we have the count dot over here, we'll just do text format green and then $count. As you can see, it looks pretty neat too, so that's kind of cool. And you should be able to place blocks no problem, because since we're not canceling the event or anything. And that's about it for the player interact event. Last but not least, we're going to be doing the inventory pickup, just so it's actually possible to get 99 plus. So we're going to just call this function on pickup as so, and then go player, or no, my bad, actually inventory pickup item event, just call it $event. So what we're going to do with this event is we're going to get the item that we picked up. Now, since it's still on the ground, this is before the event takes place, it's still an entity. So we're just going to call this variable item entity $event get item. To get the item itself, we're going to do $item and $item entity get item. So it's kind of $event get item get item. It can get slightly confusing, but you'll get the hang of it. Last but not least, we're going to be getting the inventory itself. So we'll do $inventory and then $event get inventory, since this is an inventory event. Oh, and I also forgot, you'll have to register this event in. It's at use PocketMine/event/inventory/inventory pickup item event. Now we're going to check if the item already exists in your inventory, and we're going to do that using a for each function statement, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to get the inventory's contents, we're going to get the item, so we'll do as $slot. Since the inventory contents, it returns an array with the slot and the item, so equals $item. So every slot equals an item. So in an array there's a key and there's an item, so it'll basically, it's like 0, which is the first slot. So this slot right here, this is item 0, and it equals dirt. So 0 equals dirt, like that, for example. Okay, so I'm actually just going to change the name of this just so we don't get confused with the other item. I'll just call this inventory item, or inv item for short. Now we're going to simply check if the item is already in the inventory, and we're going to do this by checking if their IDs match. So we'll do if $item get name is equal to, or no, not get name, my bad, get ID is equal to $inv item get ID. Also, what the for each statement basically does is it's going to go through each and every single slot of the inventory, which is equivalent, and then get what the slot equals, which is the inventory item, and obviously do everything below. Now we're actually going to do something quite interesting, and we're going to check that the number, the amount of items on the ground do not exceed 2304. Because 2304 is the amount of items you can have in your inventory as a total. So if I have 64 times 36, you'll get 2304. So we're going to check if this is the case by making a new variable, which is $newCount, and we'll add the two counts together and see if it's over 2304 or not. So $item get count plus $inv item get count, as so. And then we're going to check if this is over 2304. So we're actually going to go one up, and we'll go $newCount. If it's over, or no, my bad. If 2305 is bigger, which means that it has to be smaller than 2305. If this is the case, then we're going to create a new item. We'll just go and call this new item. And what we're going to do here is we're going to call the item file as so. And this is how you create a new item. So you have the ID, so we'll do $item get ID. Since they're the exact same item, so it doesn't really matter if I use inv item or normal $item, and $item get damage, which is the damage or the meta of the item, and the count, which is the new count. Then what we're going to do to cheat the system of adding the item and then it comes out as many stacks, we're going to use the set item function. So we're going to go $inventory and then set item $slot, which we got from up here, and then $new item. So now this basically kind of glitches the game with new items. Now the reason that we checked if it 2305 was bigger is because you wouldn't be able to pick it up if you had any less than that, which is why we've done that, obviously. So just so we don't cancel the event, there's an alternative way to not picking up the extra item from the event, because obviously you get the new item and you get the item that you're about to pick up, and we don't want this. So we're going to do something very simple. We're going to get $item and we're going to set the count of it to 0, just completely 0. So you won't be able to pick it up. It's practically useless. And just so this doesn't keep on going and adding to our inventory items, we're going to use the break function to break this for each statement, and the for each statement basically stops there. And that should be it for our plugin. So we're going to go ahead and save and then test it out. Okay, so I'm online now. I'm going to give myself some dead bushes. Let's give myself, I can't type whatsoever, 128. Okay, now when we drop this on the floor, go ahead and pick it up. Obviously it doesn't happen because this is our first slot and it's lower than the other, but if we do this, now we have 65. And when you right click it, which is when we use the interact event, as you can see it says stack count 65. If we drop this, it should go to 99 plus, as so, yes sir. And when we right click, it says 128. Now you can still place them down, you can scatter them around your inventory and they'll go back to normal, but this isn't with all items. Some are glitched, some are not. We should have 127 now, as so. Now if we want to extract them, and if they're glitched, then you'll do extract your finest stacks into goods, and then it says you have 127x dead bush. This is the UI that we created over here. So we could close, does nothing. We could exit out, also does nothing. Or we can extract them and it extracts into 2 stacks, as you can see. Now it rounded up since we had the number format. I actually forgot to do something where we let it have 1 decimal point, just so we can see exactly. So if I go and restart the server, as so, then go back online, okay, so I'm back online, and now if we stack them again, as so, and then right click, we have 127, then extract evenly. Now they were extracted into 2.0 stacks with a decimal point. But if we go as so, drop this, pick them up, now we have 95. Now if we extract them, they were extracted into 1.5 stacks, as so. I'm actually going to group those together and we're going to try with 22 now, as so. Now we have 86, extract, and they were extracted into 1.3 stacks. So you could have a bunch of fun with this. It's kind of fun and very useful for Prison and SkyBlock servers mostly. You could use it also for mining, etc. It comes in handy. So yeah, that was it for this tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching again. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Make sure to leave comments down below on what you'd like to see next.